Hello.
Hello. How are we doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Hi, everyone. Sorry, slightly late. But if everyone is ready, I think we're going to kick off the lovely virtual launch.
Hey.
Um,
Hang on, let me just.
Hi, everyone.
There we go. I've just muted. It's because I'm live streaming on YouTube
Oh.
as well, and it was like replaying what we were saying.
Okay. Bear with us, some technical glitches. So yeah, hi everyone. Thank you guys for coming to the virtual launch of Becca Day's The Girl Beyond the Gate, which is a debut psychological thriller. And we are so pleased to be publishing it. My name is Jen. I'm the head of marketing at Bonnier Books, and particularly Embla Books, which is Becca's imprint. So we're really excited to have you all here today to help us celebrate and we have some really great guests to talk to Becca about the book and about writing. And if you haven't managed to read the book yet in the one day that it's been out, The Girl Beyond the Gate takes place in the community of Kensington Grove, where the main character, Jodie Madison, is hoping to escape. But there's no hiding in the Grove. It is not a forgiving witness. And Jodie's soon entrenched in a murder investigation and caught up in everyone's secrets, including her own, that come to the forefront. And I think Becca has had a wonderful pub day, and I'm just glad that we have this event tonight to really kick off. So before we start with our great guest, Becca's going to do a bit of a reading from the book, and then we'll get going with the guest speakers too. Thanks.
Thank you. So I'm going to be reading the prologue, which is like a slightly smaller bit. So hopefully you can see me and hear me. And yeah, I hope you really enjoy it. This is my first time reading it out loud, so apologies if I don't do this brilliantly, but okay, so the prologue. Unlike my neighbours, I'm not interested in catching a glimpse of the dead body in the community centre. My stomach is twisting itself into knots, and the last thing I want to see right now is a black sheet-covered gurney being wheeled out. Part of me doesn't even want to look out of my bedroom window. I just want to hide away and pretend that none of this is happening. But I need to get an idea of what's going on and just how much I ought to worry. From my view, I can just about see the residents crowding behind the yellow tape, while the flashing lights of the police cars and ambulances illuminate their faces. Marissa Diaz's arms gesticulate wildly above her head. I can just imagine what she's saying. Marissa tends to drift into her native Spanish when she becomes passionate about something, and if anything is going to bring out the passion in the women of Kensington Grove, it's a murder. For a community that never experiences any excitement beyond the annual duck race, 2 unexpected deaths in less than a month is to the local gossip machine like mother's milk to a baby. First the suicide, or at least what they said was a suicide, and now this. The residents are, of course, expressing the appropriate amount of concern. Some are even wiping tragic tears from their cheeks. But everyone knows the main reason they're standing out in their slippers and dressing gowns on this frosty November morning is to find out all the juicy details, perhaps even sneak a peek. I wonder if any of them are talking about Lacey. The longing to check on her, to make sure she's okay, tugs at my heart. Blinking away a few stray tears, I pull my attention away from the residents and instead train my eyes on the grim-faced police officers, attempting in vain to read their lips as they mutter to one another. I recognise a couple of them. That's how complicated my life has become. One of the officers glances this way, and for a fleeting second, I'm sure he's looking straight at me. I'm imagining it, of course, but panic roils in my stomach all the same. No doubt the police will want to speak to every resident of Kensington Grove, and with everything that's happened over the past few months, I know I'm going to be prime suspect. It's true, the list of potential suspects is pretty much confined to the residents. That's the whole point of a gated community. No one can get in unless they have a key card, and that fact means crime levels tend to be low to non-existent. The worst crime previous to this, as far as the other residents are concerned at least, was when Sally's son Marcus set fire to the old shed out on the allotment. She'd been the talk of the community for days and almost seemed pleased when the suicide became the hot gossip, as it took the heat off her and her son. The low crime rate is one of the things hiking up the house prices so much, the promise that it's one of the safest places you could live. And then, no, I'm not imagining it. Now some of the women are turning to look at me too. Heidi, Sally, Marissa. I flinch away from the window, concealing myself behind my curtain, and take 3 slow, measured breaths. I need to go down there. It looks odd me not joining the residents, especially given everything that's happened this year. Like I've got something to hide. Of course, I do, but they don't need to know that. My plan is already in motion. Everything is resting on what happens over the next 24 hours. I can't afford to make a single mistake. And that is the end of the prologue.
Very well done on your first reading.
Thank you. My mouth is very dry.
That was absolutely fantastic. And I think that we can all agree that that prologue just gives us goosebumps. It makes you want to read more. So well done. We're going to bring on our first guest now, which is Alexa Dunn, the author of the forthcoming Pretty Dead Queens book and the critically acclaimed The Ivies. So welcome, Alexa.
Hi. Can you hear me and everything?
Yeah, we can hear you and see you. Thank you so much for coming. Alexa gave me feedback on my very first chapter, back when I was first drafting this. So very exciting to actually have her here.
I still love it. It's changed a little, but it's just, it's electrifying. It's so good. I saw that and I was like, immediately, I think I emailed you. I was like, this is amazing. You need to write this entire book right now.
Yeah, when you gave me that feedback, I'd only written the first few chapters. So it was a very early stage that you read it.
Oh, well, your voice is amazing. But what I want to know about, though maybe this is one of your favorite parts, I want to know about your favorite part of the writing process, and maybe particularly writing this book or writing thrillers. So a mishmash question, but I want to pick your brain.
The thing that I absolutely love about writing thrillers is the sort of web that you can create with all the secrets and trying to figure out what's going to be revealed when and coming up with that plot. So that's the most exciting bit for me. And I've just handed in book 2. So I'm now working on plotting book 3, and I'm just in this really exciting stage where I just know that I get to figure out all the details and figure out where the secrets are and who's hiding what, and slowly reveal it throughout the story. And doing that, I just find that really fun. I get a big piece of paper and do sort of a mind map, the old fashioned with the red string going across. I do that kind of thing.
A murder board.
Yes, a murder board. I absolutely love doing that. So yeah, I think that's probably my favorite bit. I do love writing, obviously, but the actual creation of the story is definitely my favorite bit.
Fantastic. And I'll just tack something onto that. When you're writing, because it's process, do things change from how you planned it?
Yeah,
do you come up with new secrets and stuff?
Yeah, I do. I realized I'm kind of a mix of a plotter and a discovery writer. I can talk a bit about that later, but yeah, I'll have a plot, and then as I'm working on it, as I'm writing it, more things will come to me, and then I'll sort of slip them in, and that's a really lovely sort of fluid process. What about you? What do you normally do?
Same. I love the planning. It's, even though I'm not a planner, but I am with thrillers, you have to know what is going on, right?
Yeah.
I love coming up with stuff on the fly though. I have a main thing, but my favorite thing is when you're writing your thriller, and I wonder if this happened with you at all, and you're there's one thing you haven't figured out, but you're I'll figure it out, or you think you know what it is, and then you're writing, you're obviously it's this secret. And I sometimes will find that I inadvertently already laid the breadcrumbs, and I'm a secret genius. I had no clue I was doing this. Does that ever happen to you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the best moment, when you feel like a genius.
It all comes together and you're I was already writing the character this way and I didn't know.
Yeah, that's definitely a great moment. Can you tell everyone a little bit about your book? You've got The Ivies is already out, but then you've got Pretty Dead Queens coming out. Yeah.
Yes, I write YA thrillers, so young adult thrillers. So my characters are always, one of the hardest parts is figuring out how to convincingly have a 17-year-old solve a murder. It's interesting. So The Ivies is set in a boarding school, and it's because in the US, college admissions is really competitive. And I'm sure everyone saw the federal scandal where people were cheating to get into schools, and mine is kind of predicated on that, where the question is, does someone murder for Harvard, is the question mark there. And then my next one is small town secrets, and that's why I love what you're doing in The Girl Beyond the Gate. Like, I read books like yours, obviously, because I love that like enclosed community with a lot of like stuff going on in secrets. So Pretty Dead Queens is set in a coastal California town. It's basically like Dark Murder, She Wrote. I loved the idea of like, this is a town that runs on murder, but specifically best-selling murder books. And this character moves there, and then the homecoming queen is murdered in the same manner as her grandmother's best-selling breakout novel. And stuff happens.
Oh, so good, so good. I love the small town secrets, and then my other favorite thriller trope is like rich people getting what they deserve. So it's both words.
Scratching that itch, and it's like you can go to that well over and over again. You just like change the setting, and so I love the same thing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming along, Alexa. I know you're like in the middle of your lunch break, so
okay, so I'm in California, so I'm like, it's the middle of the day.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been so lovely catching up with you, and I'll chat to you again soon.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations, and have an amazing rest of the release day and week and all of that.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Alexa. I think something I'm going to take away from that is I had no idea, Becca, that you had like a murder wall to plot out your books. I definitely think that's something you've kept from us.
I mean, I would like take a photo and share it on social media, but then it's like spoilers, so I can't do that.
We'll just blur some out. I think we all need to see that content, definitely.
Okay, I'll do a blurred murder board.
Next up, we have Lauren North, who is the fantastic author of psychological suspense book Safe at Home. So we're really excited to bring you on, Lauren, and speak to you.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Hi, thank you for joining me. Lauren is the amazing lady who mentored me from the beginning. So she's played a huge part in bringing this book to reality. So.
Oh, thank you. Well, you were always going to get there, though. I was very pleased to be along for the ride, but it was all your hard work, Becca, and you are one of the hardest working authors I know. So I'm just so pleased for you. So very happy publication day.
Thank you very much.
Right, I've got a question for you, coming from a gloomy, dark village in Suffolk, not from the beautiful, sunny California, unfortunately. But my question is, so The Girl Beyond the Gate is a very dark and twisted tale, and it's told from two very different women. So you've got Jodie, who's a woman struggling with demons and desperate for a fresh start. And then you've got Nora, who's sort of buried under the weight of responsibility of being a mother, who is desperate for everything to stay the same. And now they're both so different. And I wondered, how did you find writing the two women side by side and drawing on those differences when you're also setting it in a very intense community setting?
Yeah, it's interesting because the book's very, very different now to how it was when I first started writing it. And when I first started writing it, Alexa will know because she read the earliest version, but it was just the one point of view. It was just from Jodie's point of view, and it was only when I sort of got about halfway, and I think I started working with you, and I started considering adding in Nora's point of view as well. And it was quite a big decision because I'd never written multi-POV before. I was very much stuck in my ways of writing in one POV. But I'd read so many amazing thrillers recently that had dual POV, and I just really enjoyed reading it. So I was like, I'm going to try that for this. And as soon as I did that, I felt like it just brought in such a good dimension to the story. And I really enjoyed, there's such different women and such different personalities, and I really enjoyed sort of flip-flopping between the two different personalities and the two different voices. And to have Nora's she's very author words difficult.
Yeah, she is quite put together, isn't she, as a person? She's got quite a big shield up, I think, hasn't she?
And she schedules everything out, and she makes sure that, you know, her nails are always perfect. And she's a very, very different personality to Jodie. So to be able to explore that voice as well. It's not necessarily a likable voice, but it's a really interesting voice to write, and I hope that then makes it an interesting voice to read as well, to sort of get those two points of view. And I love stories where you're not really sure who to believe and trust, and I feel like I along in this is you hear it from both women and you're not quite sure whose side you should be on.
No, and I think that you do that so well in the book as well. I think that's one of its strongest bits, actually. So do you think you're going to continue writing in multiple POVs then? Is that your plan now?
So, yeah, I think I'm set with multi-POV now.
Yeah.
My second book has 3 POVs in it.
So is the book after that going to have 4?
Yeah, maybe I'll just add one each time.
Every time, yeah, it gets you confusing.
I do think there's a limit. I've read books where there's been so many points of view and I've just got very confused, and I've not been able to properly connect with any of the characters because there's just too many. So I do think there's a limit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am enjoying picking out those key characters who I really want to explore, and I really want to hear their sort of internal thoughts, and exploring them with a POV.
And do you ever feel bad for putting your characters through what you put them through?
Not really, no. The more the better. They're fictional people, it's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming along and for asking such brilliant questions.
Oh, a real pleasure. And I also got to have a little treat of reading a very, very early opening of your next book. And I'm not going to say a single thing about it other than it is mind-blowing, and I can't wait to see it out in the world as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Can you tell us a little bit about your upcoming book? Your most recent one is Safe at Home.
Yes, and then I've got one coming out in September called All the Wicked Games, and when I saw Alexa do hers, I was like, oh no, I need to know what my book's about because it's been so long since I wrote it. But it is about 2 best friends who like to pretend to be people they're not, and it's a harmless fun until they play the game on the wrong person and end up playing for their lives.
Oh, it sounds so good, and I have requested
you're on the list, don't worry, you're on the list.
Very much looking forward to reading it.
Oh, thank you, and thank you so much for having me on tonight. Enjoy the rest of your publication day.
Thank you, Lauren.
Bye.
Lovely to see you again.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Those are some great questions. I thought it was really interesting about, do you feel bad about doing the things that you do to your characters? I don't know how I would feel. I feel like I maybe would a little bit, but obviously you're made of tougher stuff than me.
Does that make me a really horrible person that I don't really care?
No, I think you're completely right. They are fictional characters at the end of the day, but I mean, it takes a talent.
There's a chapter in The Girl Beyond the Gate, and if you've read it, you'll know which one I'm talking about. But there's a particular chapter right near the end that when I wrote it, I was like crying while I was writing it, and I had to stop afterwards and take a proper long break after writing that chapter because it hit me so hard. And like I say, if you've read it, you'll know which chapter I'm talking about, but it was a rough chapter to write.
I think it just goes to show, when you build that fantastic world, like even as the writer, you're just completely drawn into it. And I think as a reader, such a nice experience to have that, but I can imagine as an author, it sometimes takes its toll.
Yeah, it was very emotionally taxing.
Fab. So up next, we have a fellow Bonnier author, the master of the Up All Night thriller and author of the recently released The Curfew, T.M. Logan.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Congratulations on your launch day. I hope you're having a good day.
Oh, thank you. It's been lovely. It's been very chilled. I haven't had much sleep because my baby decided to stop sleeping at night. So I'm basically a walking, talking cup of coffee right now.
Okay. But it's going all right so far.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a lovely, lovely day. We had takeaway and I've popped a bottle of champagne. So
excellent. You need plenty more of that for a launch.
Yes, yeah. What question would you like to ask?
Right. I like to ask about, because I sometimes get asked this and I'm always kind of never quite sure how much to sort of reveal, but I'm always interested in inspiration and how much of your own kind of experiences and sort of background kind of comes into the book, and how much of your own experiences are in the characters. Is that something that kind of you try to incorporate, or do you try to avoid that? Is it something that you kind of, do you recognize yourself in any of the people in your book?
Yeah, it's interesting. I try to avoid it, mainly because I don't want anyone to read it and then go, was that character based on me, and get really insulted by it. So I do try to avoid doing that, but I think it's very natural to, like, you draw on what you know, don't you? So I think it's very natural to end up slipping in anecdotes and things that are sort of personal experiences. When I started writing the character of Jodie, I think she was very much me. And that's probably a bad thing to say, because I don't think she's the most likable character in the world. She's very damaged. But to begin with, it was very much my voice, and she's quite sarcastic, and the way that she words things is, you kind of have to have a certain sense of humor to get her. And I think that has come through from me. But as I wrote it and as I developed the character, she became less and less and less like me. So the person you read on the page is not me. But yeah, it's been a process, and I think it starts off, you pull from what you know, and then you sort of build on it and develop it, and it becomes more and more unique. But I mean, the second book that I've written, I don't think any of it's like me. It's set on a farm, and that's always been like a thing for me. I've always wanted to live on a farm for some weird reason, so that was kind of me living vicariously through my characters. But other than that, yeah, I do try and keep it as distant from myself as possible. What do you do? Do you sort of pull on your own?
I do get asked that, and I sort of, sometimes there are bits and pieces of people, or facets or mannerisms of people I know, or maybe my own, that I've kind of used. And I think certainly in some of my books there are, some of the characters are kind of maybe me in a parallel universe, if you see what I mean. They're kind of like me in a different situation, perhaps, so, I mean, some more than others, but yeah, there's always bits of me and lots of the characters, maybe quite small bits, but yeah, I think everybody probably does it differently, and every author probably does it differently. Some don't use their own sort of experiences at all, and some use them a lot. So was there a character that was your favorite to write in this one, or in your next book? Is there a particular character that you enjoyed writing the most, or found the easiest to write?
Yeah, in The Girl Beyond the Gate, I actually really enjoyed writing the character of Heidi, who's not even a main character. She's like a side character, but she was very interesting to develop, because on the surface, when you first meet her, she's one of these ladies who has her hair done perfectly, and she wears the pearls, and she's very prim and proper. And then as you sort of learn more about her story and her background, she's got quite a tragic story going on in the background, and to sort of explore that, and the whole concept of someone seems one way but they're very deep, they've got a whole situation going on behind the scenes that you don't know about. That was really interesting for me to write, and I really enjoyed exploring her character and showing that she's not just what you see to begin with. So yeah, she was my favorite character, even though she wasn't a main character. And then for my second book, one of the POVs is a police officer, and she was really, really fun to write. I really enjoyed writing her. To begin with, when I introduced her, I wasn't really sure who she was, and I discovery wrote that book a lot more than I did with The Girl Beyond the Gate. And it was as I was writing, I figured out who she was. And as I figured out who she was, I just loved writing her. Once I knew who she was, I just thought she was a brilliant character to write. So I'm very much excited for people to read her and hopefully sort of, gel with her and enjoy reading her.
That happens for me as well. I think what you know a certain amount about the people at the beginning of the book, but then as you're going through it, it's kind of like, spending every day with them, and it's like going on holiday or going away on a trip with this small group of people, and you kind of get to know them better and better the sort of more days and weeks and months you spend with them. So I always know a lot more about them at the end of the process than I did at the beginning, where at the beginning it can be bit more of an outline and a bit more of a kind of a sketch of a character rather than sort of the full thing you hopefully get at the end. So yeah, but character is always interesting, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's probably one of my favorite parts, is figuring out the characters, because I love reading books where I feel like the people I'm reading are real and they've got real backstories, they've got real issues, they're not perfect people. I'm very into like morally grey characters. So
that's where all the best stories are, I think, for sure, because black and white is fine, but all the interesting stuff happens in the middle, I think. So
yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much. Can you tell us a little bit about your most recent novel, which is The Curfew?
Yeah, so The Curfew just came out last week. It's my 6th book. It's a psychological thriller in the vein of some of my previous books, like The Catch or The Holiday. So it's sort of family-based drama about family loyalty, sort of tested to breaking point. And the premise basically is 16-year-old boy finishes exams. It's a hot summer's evening, and him and all his friends go to a party, and then some more of them go on up to the woods later on, and 5 of them go into the woods, but only 4 of them come out. And the first thing his parents are sort of the main characters, is the following morning when the news starts to slowly leak out that things have happened on this Saturday night in the woods that some very sort of dark things have happened indeed, and there's the police become involved, and there's arrest, and there's someone who's missing, and all this sort of stuff. So it's kind of quite a fast-paced thriller, and it's just been out. How many days is it now? 4 or 5 days. So yeah, it's kind of early days, but it's and I'm working on my next book as well. So
I'm currently reading it because we did the reading party for it a few days ago. So I'm nearly at the end of it, and it's fantastic. So if you haven't read it, definitely go and get it.
Thank you, and everybody should get your book as well, which is out today, isn't it?
Thank you. Yes, it's me. Thank you, Tim. Lovely to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Tim. A lot of love for the farm and the grey characters in the chat happening. I think definitely onto a winner there, Becca.
Fab. I've seen there's a couple of questions come through on the Q&A function, so I know we've got Sarah's bit to play as well, but I can start to answer a couple of those. We've got a question from Sarah saying who was favourite characters to write, which I've already answered, but also who was the hardest. So the hardest, I guess, would be Lacey, and that's because she's 11 years old. I find that really, really difficult to write children or younger characters. I should probably get some advice from Alexa, really. But yeah, just getting the voice right is quite tricky, because especially as I kind of based how I was writing her dialogue off of my niece. But my niece is quite grown up for her age, so some of the things that she says is not sort of typical of her age. So yeah, writing a younger voice was definitely tricky.
I guess as well, if you really want to stay in that morally grey area, it's kind of hard putting that on an innocent kid as well.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's a question from Alex. Hi, Alex. I've got an interview booked with him in a couple of weeks, which I'm very excited about. But he said, I know it's a bit early, but could you tell us who you visualised as a TV face for the book, given that Tim is here and The Holiday being on? So yes, if you haven't watched The Holiday, go and watch that. But I actually released a video on my YouTube channel, which was like my dream cast for the book, because I'm very much like, I always think of books as if they were movies in my head, so I always think about that anyway. And I thought of Samantha Womack for Jodie. I don't know why, I just instantly had her in my head. I think it's because I used to watch her in EastEnders, and her character in EastEnders was similar to Jodie. But yeah, she was definitely sort of forefront of my mind. And then for Nora, I can't actually remember her name, but it's the woman who plays Serena in The Handmaid's Tale. I can't remember her name, but she was sort of who I visualized for the character of Nora. But yeah, go and watch that video, and it's got all of the characters and who I saw as each character on there.
Did those people come to you as you were writing it, or was it once you had finished it and really kind of like it was ready to be published and then you thought, this is who I can see playing it?
Well, Samantha Womack was in my head right from the beginning. All the others, I think, came to me afterwards, once I sort of knew who the characters were, and then I sat down and thought about it to make the video, so they all came afterwards. But yeah, Samantha Womack was in my head right from the beginning.
Lauren has just said Serena in The Handmaid's Tale is played by Yvonne Strahovski. That's right. Yeah,
that's it.
She is great.
I knew it was like a Russian name. I was like, I'm not even going to try and say it.
We've had a question as well just come through to me from Lauren saying, how has being published compared to how you thought it would be, and what's been the most surprising thing in the whole process?
It's weird. It's not, it feels very normal. Like, I kind of thought that I'd wake up this morning and be like a kid on Christmas, but I guess because I'm a mum, I had to continue with my normal routine. You know, I got my daughter ready for school and I took her on the school run, and then I got thrown up on by my 4-month-old and had to wash poo out of her clothes. And so like my day has been very, very normal mum life. But it's just been the most amazing day on social media. Like, so many people have been tagging me and messaging me, and it's just been so lovely. Like, I've felt the love coming from so many people. And I think that's the nicest thing about actually having the work out there, as much as it's absolutely terrifying to know that people are going to be reading it and reviewing it and possibly not liking it. The love and the support that you get from people, from writing friends, from readers, from friends and family, it's just been so lovely. And yeah, it's just been a really lovely day.
That is one thing. So I work in marketing for publishing, and so I have to tell a lot of authors that actually, when it comes to like Twitter, which can be a scary place, book Twitter is absolutely lovely. And I've seen a few names here that I recognize that are watching right now who have posted and been really fantastic throughout the process. So thank you. But yeah, I'm really glad that it's been a nice day for you as well.
Yeah, BookTwitter is the most supportive community ever. If you're a writer and you're not on BookTwitter, like, definitely do it, because everyone is so lovely.
Yeah. We've got a couple more questions. Do you want to do those, or do you want to do Sarah's bit first?
Do we do Sarah's bit? I'm hoping this is going to work. We did practice this. Basically, Sarah couldn't come live because her husband is working and she's got to put her kids to bed. So we pre-recorded it, and I did practice it with Jen yesterday. So hopefully it will work, but bear with me because I'm not the most technological with Zoom. Right, let's do share screen and share the sound, because that's what we did wrong yesterday. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks so much for inviting me on. All very exciting.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. It's so lovely to have so many people here to celebrate the book. So very, very honoured today. So you had a question for me, I believe.
Yeah, it's a question. It's something I'm always really intrigued with other writers, and it's really around sort of the writing process for the book. Kind of, are you a plotter versus sort of a pantser? And how long did it take you to write?
So I wrote it quite quickly. I think it was about 6 months for the first draft, and then I spent quite a lot of time editing it before sending it across to agents. But in terms of the plotting, pantsing thing, it seems to change every time I write a book. I recorded like a vlog that I put on my YouTube channel of the plotting process for this book. So if anyone's interested, they can actually go and watch that. But I basically went really, really type A with it, and I had like a spreadsheet and it was all color coded. And I went through the like Save the Cat Writes a Novel beats and everything, and I had it all very, very organized in a spreadsheet. And then I kind of changed the novel. Like, by the time I'd finished it, it was a completely different novel to the one that I had plotted. And I think that happens quite a lot with writers, but I'd like added a new point of view and all things like that. It was a completely different novel. And then with the second book, which I've just sent across to my agent last week, that one, I started plotting it And then I got stuck at about the 50% mark. Like I knew how it ended, but I wasn't sure how to get from the middle to the end. And because this time I was on deadline, I didn't want to stall by not knowing what would happen in that sort of last half of the book. So I decided to just start writing and see what happened. So that last 50% of the book, I actually pantsed, and it actually worked out quite well for me. I quite enjoyed it, which was very strange for me because I feel like I am a plotter at heart. Like I like to be very organized with stuff. So I'm thinking maybe with book 3, I'll do a little bit of both because it seemed to work quite well. What about you?
Yeah, no, that's really interesting, actually. I'd say I'm probably a bit of both as well. I kind of definitely like having an idea of where it's going, but I think you kind of have to have room, don't you, to sort of, as things come to you when you're writing and sort of you're telling yourself the story, I think it is really nice to have sort of elements that surprise you as well. So yeah, I'm always really interested. I am amazed when people kind of have literally sort of scene by scene planned out. I don't think I'm capable of doing that at the beginning. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I did with this book. I did do it scene by scene, but let's say it very much changed from that original plan. But the other thing is that I feel like you can't know your characters properly until you start actually writing the book. You can plan and plan and plan, but until you're actually writing it, you don't get to know them properly. So yeah, I think I'll do a bit of both for book 3.
Yeah, I definitely think you have to have room for both, don't you?
Yeah. Sure. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And the sequel to The Sanatorium is out. It's called The Retreat. And when is it coming out again? Remind me.
It's coming out in July.
Yeah, I'm very excited to read that after that cliffhanger ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, lovely to have you on. And I will talk to you soon, Sarah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
I hope that all came through properly.
Yeah, no, it was great. I don't think I've ever heard that term, a pantser.
Is
that like very well known in the writing community? Have I just missed it?
Yeah, I think I've always heard of it as like plotting and pantsing. I think some people call it discovery writing. Okay. But it's basically making it up and flying by the seat of your pants. That's where it comes from. So yeah, I think it's quite commonly used in the writing community.
Amazing. Okay, we've got a couple more questions that have come in. Mira asked, what is your writing routine like? Do you write with 2 young kids, morning and evening, squeezing in pockets of time?
So with the first book, I got up really early, basically. So my daughter gets up at about 7, so I'd get up at 6 and write for an hour each day. I couldn't do that for book 2 because I had a newborn and I just so tired. I needed every snatch of sleep that I could. So I ended up basically doing 20-minute sprints. So whenever I could, it was squeezing in pockets of time. Whenever I had a spare moment, I would sit down and I would write, even if it was only sort of 200 words, at least then I was 200 words further along than I was last time. And so yeah, and if I did that multiple times throughout the day, so say I wrote 200 words in the morning and then 200 words a few hours later and did that a few times, I could get like 1,000 words in a day and it would be a really productive writing day. So that's how I ended up doing book 2, is just whenever I could, snatching those 20-minute increments of time.
I think it goes to show as well, if anyone is thinking about writing a book, like if you can do it with a newborn at home, I mean, we at Embla have been absolutely amazed of just how much you've gotten done. Like I have 2 small children, I don't know how you do it, but 20-minute spots, it works.
And book 1, I also was working a full-time job. Like I'm on maternity leave at the moment, so it's a little bit easier, but I did have a full-time job as well. I'm lucky that it's a fairly flexible job and I work from home, so I could sort of choose when my lunch break was. But yeah, I think it's if you're saying that you haven't got enough time to write a book, it's just prioritization, I think. And it's, saying I'm not going to watch TV tonight because I need to get some writing done, or I'm not going to see my friends because I've got to get some writing done. Like it's choosing, if you want to write a novel and you want it to become a career, it's sort of choosing to make it a priority in your life.
Yeah, a lot of self-discipline.
Yeah.
I've got a new question from Asim asking if you picked the cover for your book.
Hi Asim, he's a regular at reading parties, so I know him very well. I didn't pick it, that was the lovely Embla. They did an amazing job producing the cover and I was so happy with it. They did send it across to me and said, like, what do you think of it? But as soon as I saw it, I knew that it was perfect. I knew it was the cover that was right for my book, so I was 100% happy with it. And yeah, I think they did an amazing job, better than I could have ever done.
I will say when it came to our like covers meeting as well, we had the same exact kind of gut reaction. We saw it and we're like, yes, this is perfect.
Yeah,
This is the girl
I
beyond
feel
the
like
gate.
it's very commercial and it's very sort of typical of what you see in psychological thrillers at the moment. So hopefully it's eye-catching enough that people will want to pick it up. I'm really bad. I judge books by their cover. Like if I see a good cover, I'll instantly pick it up and read the blurb and want to know more about it. So I think covers are really important.
At least you read the blurb. I mean,
I do read the blurb, yes. I don't just judge by the cover.
okay, Sarah's asked your writing routine, which we've done. Don't know if you want to give us any more.
Yeah, no, I think I haven't really got a routine anymore. It's just whenever I can. So yeah, I think that's there's no questions in the chat, is there? I don't think so. I think we're all good. I could probably just quickly check over on YouTube as well, because it is going, no, we've got lots of love it, exciting, but no questions, that's fine. Oh, who are your favorite authors to read, favorite genres? Well, favorite authors are actually in the room. T.M. Logan, Lauren North and Alexa Don are definitely my favorite authors. I love all of their work. People who are not in the room, I love Will Dean. Got Dark Pines up here, and his The Last Thing to Burn was just amazing. It's the only book I've ever stayed up all night to read. So yeah, that was just brilliant. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And also David Tennell, I think is brilliant. So yeah, they're probably my favorite writers at the moment. And favorite genre is obviously thrillers. I read so many thrillers now. I do also really like fantasy and sci-fi though. So yeah, I do sort of branch out into those, and there's some great books coming up soon that I've been sharing on my social media that are sort of fantasy sci-fi. Ali Ernest, if you like fantasy and sci-fi, definitely go check her out, because she's got a fantastic novel coming out, which I am lucky enough to have read an early version of. So yeah, they're my other sort of genres that I enjoy reading.
Amazing. We've got one final question actually. What advice would you give to someone who wants to get a book published?
I would say if you can get some help. I'm very much of the opinion that you can't do it on your own. Well, you can, but you probably won't do the best job of it. Everyone needs a little bit of help, and everyone needs advice, and everyone needs critique. And you need to be sort of willing to take that. So I actually ended up doing a mentorship with Lauren North. So she sort of read over my novel and gave me advice on it, and I sort of worked on it with her before sending it out to agents. And I feel like I probably wouldn't have written a good enough book to get published if it hadn't been for collaborating with people. And then when I got my agent, I also worked on it with her as well and improved it even more. And then obviously when I got the book deal, I worked on it more and improved it even more. So I think it's really, really important to get outside perspectives, whether that's a writing group or, you know, critique partners or mentorships or any kind of feedback that you can get off of people who know what they're talking about, like, you know, that they can write. I think that's really, really important.
Great. Yeah, Sarah's just said they should watch your YouTube channel, which I agree. I have learned things on Becca's YouTube channel, and I've worked in publishing for 10 years, so it's a fantastic resource.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you for the questions, everyone, and thank you, Becca. I just want to do one more. Everyone say congratulations to Becca for Pub Day, because it's an amazing achievement, and we're so glad that you are with us at Embla.
Thank you. I've loved being with Embla. It's been so amazing, and the team at Embla and Bonnier Books in general is just fantastic. I've enjoyed every minute of it, so thank you.
Great.
Right, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to the guests for joining. I've got my dog who's attacking me now, so I'm gonna say goodbye. But thank you, everyone, and I hope if you do read the book that you enjoy it, and please do review if you enjoy it. That would be really helpful. And also, I just wanted to say I've got a reading party on the 29th, so 1 week today, and that is a really fun interactive event. Tickets are from £2, so you can go to readingparty.co.uk to sign up for that, and you can also get a free not free you can get a signed paperback if you would like a signed version. So yes, I would love to see some of you there.
Yeah. Great, thank you, Becca.
Thank you.